What a mess it has been in the stock market recently. Our weekly dividend ETF account is dropping more and more every single day. Now, some of the funds are still doing okay. None of them are doing great, but we have some that are treading above water safely and others that continue to sink down to the very depths of the ocean below. Now, you know the ones I'm talking about. Defiance is dying, and YMAG and YMAX are doing decent, and Roundhill's not looking too good either, but we have a new weekly paying dividend ETF in the account and so much more to come. So if you guys are interested in dividends, in stocks, in the stock market, in making money, let me know by liking the video and subscribe if you find this content useful or fun. It helps me out a bunch. We reached our goal of 5,000 about 3 days early, so I'm super grateful for you guys. Let's roll that intro. There's a lot to address in this video. It's been crazy, everything that's been going on. But first, I want to talk about this. You guys know that YBTC is switching to weekly, so I did purchase it. We now have 2 shares of YBTC. We will be tracking it, and it's going to be thrown in with this challenge. The dividend history will reflect on the spreadsheet because we don't have any history so far. But once it does go weekly, we should get those dividends. I'm not sure if we'll get the first one or not. It's kind of a waiting game because I do own it now, but I don't know when the ex-dividend date was. I tried to buy it, but transferring funds into the account, it always takes some time. Now, you guys can see that our total cash is negative $79.16 because I guess I bought this. I don't know if I bought it on margin. I have no idea. You can see our instant buying power is 200, max buying power. So I don't know. I don't know how all those things work, but we have it. It's in the account. Now, we are down a little bit from last week. You guys know we're down, what, roughly $12, I think, give or take, from the last video. Now, is the sky falling? Is everything tanking? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you my personal portfolio for my Roth IRA. It has been steadily falling over the past couple of weeks, so I don't think that the dividend ETFs are tanking here. I think the market as a whole is going through a little correction. And is that good? No. Is it a good time to buy? Usually. Is it going to keep going down? I don't know, and no one else does. So if you listen to people and they say they know, they don't. So I'm happy with our returns and what we've seen. I think with the market, this following the market, I'm okay with it. But we do have some crazy losers, and you know what I'm talking about. Defiance. What is going on? What are you doing? But now RoundHill is also tanking a little bit, but we'll get into all the details. And again, I'll show you at the end with our spreadsheet, the full breakdown. This is just market P&L. So this is not including the dividends for the ones that are not reinvesting. DRIP is only on for YMAG and YMAX at this point, and it's probably going to stay that way for quite some time. I'm happy we have YBTC. We now own 9 of these, and soon this will reflect. I transferred in an extra 200, so we're actually going to be able to buy another one. I don't know. You guys let me know. Is YETH Yeth? That's kind of funny. Is Yeth going to weeklies? I saw some comments about it, but I'm not positive. I couldn't find anything about it on their website. So let me know in the comments if that one is, because if it is, I have the money in the account already to purchase it once it does finally convert. But I know it was kind of behind schedule compared to YBTC if it is converting to weekly. So let me know. But let's jump into these positions and see our winners and our losers. And you already know we have to start off with our biggest loser yet. I like to get the worst out of the way first. And so IWMY absolutely dropping. We're down 12.7%. Which is awful. Our average cost of $34.61 is now only worth $30.22 per share. It's just insane. Look at this thing. When someone asks you what is NAV erosion, show them this chart because this is NAV erosion. Well, you can see our buy all the way back here and then just continual drops. We only had one section where it actually paid out a dividend and then ran up prior or farther than the pre-dividend price, only to immediately sell off, trade sideways, and then take a huge dip when, I believe it was when the Fed talked about rate cuts. People talked about that in the last video because we had a really bad week last week. And so that was, I think, the key factor is they talked about rate cuts, and basically the Fed is like, we're slowing down on rate cuts. They may not even do any more in the near future. And so that freaked the market out, and so it tanked. But I was hoping for a rebound week, and we did not get one whatsoever. You guys know IWMY, still AUM of $108 million and a dividend yield of over 105%, nearly 106, which is insane. So even if it is yielding that, we are still low on the portfolio position. It might not be negative. We'll see that at the end. It might be positive, but if it is positive, it's going to be barely because this thing has been tanking like mad. I hope the other Defiance funds still can do okay, but I'm not sure. Let's check the last 4 dividends. We have a 25.7 cents, 32.5 cents, 27 cents, and now 26 cents, rounding up a little bit. So not a bad dividend. I'm not sure why this thing is tanking so bad. You know what? It is a bad dividend. Now that I look at all the other ones, it is still, I think it is the actual lowest that we've seen, or close to it. 25, yeah, because this one's 25.7, 25.8. So yeah, a very low dividend. One thing with these is you'll notice when NAV erosion hits, the dividends start to fall. The yield might go up because you're lowering your price value, but the dividends start to fall, and that is the first factor of just a terrible dividend-paying ETF. So I'm not happy with IWMY. I know a lot of you guys in the comments aren't either. Let me know if you still own this one or if you believe in it, because I don't. But I'll own it for the rest of the portfolio, even though it's probably going to cost me money to do it. Now let's jump into our next fund from Defiance. QQQY. Average cost of $34.37 and a current price of $31. So we are down 9.8%, which is terrible. Total P&L of down $10. Now, you guys know I had some thoughts about this one because it did start trading sideways, but we broke that pattern and we're down. With the rate cut news, we are down pretty heavily even since then, and I don't know why, if the market's just overreacting. Maybe it is, but even so, the dividends better pick it up to make up for that loss. AUM of $168 million and a dividend yield of 81.49%. Now, the last 4 dividends should tell us something. 23 cents, 28.5 cents, 23 cents, and 22 cents. So again, we had a pretty low dividend. Is it our all-time low? Yes, it is. So an all-time low from QQQY. I don't know what to say. There's not much else to say about these. They continue to fall. We've seen a lot less purchasing, a lot less volume. So I don't know what the future holds for these, but I hope they're not fully in the red. I hope I'm not losing a bunch of money on these, but we'll see. Let's check out our next Defiance ETF. Ticker WDTE, an average cost of $42.18, currently sitting at $39.03. So we're down 7.46%, down $6.30 P&L wise. And this one was doing a lot better than IWMY as well, and QQQY arguably, but still we have fallen. Last week, this one was in the green almost as much as QDTE, which had me very, very surprised. I would never guess that one of the Defiance funds would nearly perform or even outperform one of the RoundHill ETFs. But WDTE doesn't care about what I think, apparently, because it was. So we have an $84.82 million AUM, which is assets under management, and our dividend yield of 50.81%. Not bad by any means. Checking in on the last 4 distributions, we have 20 cents, 20.5 cents, 18 cents, and 23.75 cents. So a really solid dividend, higher than what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but not anywhere near the all-time high of 33, 34. So still, a win is a win. I'm happy that the dividend was such a good payout. But again, we have to wait and see what actually happened with this fund to find out if it is positive or negative. Now, I wish I could say that the losing ETFs stop here, but they don't, because we're going to jump into RoundHill and check out our biggest loser from RoundHill. RDTE is down almost 7%, just 0.01% under. We have an average cost of $44.36, and currently it's trading at $41.26. So we have seen quite the dive from this. Now, again, this is a newer fund, and so it's so crazy. I bought RoundHill right before it tanked, and then I didn't buy XDTE, and it ran up. So I'm not sure if it's just my timing. I always feel like it's my timing, but who really knows? Again, it's a newer fund. We'll see some volatility with this one. I'm not worried about the RoundHill funds. I think they'll do fine when the market bounces back or if it even trades sideways. We have 177 million AUM and a dividend yield of 10.7%, which is not accurate. It's much higher than that. Volume's looking pretty stagnant, nothing too crazy. A little bit of buying on this last dip, which I don't mind seeing. And then we can also see the last 4 dividends, 28.26 cents, 37 cents, 26.5 cents, and 27. So even a solid dividend, higher than last week's. Nothing crazy, not a super high one, probably on the lower side actually, but still not bad. I'm hoping next week we see some insane dividends with the volatility being up, but who knows? Let's check out our next RoundHill ETF. So we have XDTE. It is down 3.73%, not terrible. And again, we have an average cost of $52.31 and a current price of $50.36. We saw the crazy dip on this one too. It's a reoccurring pattern. If we jump to the 1-year chart, we can see it is not at all-time lows, but it is trending downwards, at least recently. we have AUM of 293.34 million and a dividend yield of 20%, which is, again, not accurate. It's in the 30s last time I checked it. But we have seen more and more volume. We've seen a lot of purchasing on this dip, which I like to see. Even though there was some crazy sell-offs, it seems to be rebounding a little bit, but not all the way back yet, of course, but people are probably expecting that to recoup some of that loss. So I'm happy to see that. Our last 4 dividends, we have 23.5 cents, 15.4 cents, 64 cents. We had an insanely large dividend last week, which was crazy from both QDTE and XDTE. And this one, we had 60 cents. Another huge distribution. The volatility is bumping these dividends higher and higher. Even though we are losing our NAV, we are still getting a lot in dividends, which I'm happy to see. And that makes me so curious how QDTE performed. Let's check it out. 4.81% down, average cost of $42.39, and currently trading at $40.35. I'm so curious how this dividend was. Volume has been going up spectacularly. Love to see that. Similar pattern. The chart's not as pretty as XDTE, and the all-time chart is, yeah, it's a little bit sketchy. But you never know with these funds. We have an AUM of 650.55 million and a dividend yield of 31.92%, which is pretty accurate, I would say. Now, let's jump into what everyone wants to know. The last distribution, how was it? We had 23.6 cents, and then we had 16.5 cents. We had 86, almost 87 cents, and this time we had 80 cents. So not as big, but still a monster dividend from QDTE. I don't know why XDTE and QDTE are doing this, but RoundHill they're doing something right. RDTE is still a little bit stagnant. I'm not sure why it's such a difference between the yields that these ones are paying out right now, just over the last couple of dividends, but still, I am not unhappy by any means. This was a great surprise and a good start to 2025 if they can keep this up. Let's jump into YBTC and check out for the first time on this channel how that fund has been doing. So we can see a purchase average cost of 48.75 and a current price of 48.76. So yes, I have gained 2 cents. Yes, I am happy about that. Now, YBTC, it's an interesting one. Crypto has been going insane, so this thing is up. I'm not sure why it was up so high in March of 2024. I don't know how well this thing correlates to the price of Bitcoin, but I mean, when crypto is doing good, it seems to be doing better. So I'm happy about that. If we can check, the AUM is only 77 million. I had no idea it was that small. Now track that because I wonder how it's going to go after switching over to the weeklies. A dividend yield of 44%. So it is a really high dividend yield. Now, last 4 distributions, let me note this again is monthly. We can see how crazy the buying has been going now that it's switching to weekly. I think people are going to really, really like this fund at the weekly dividend point. We had $1.61, $2.11, 88 cents, a very low dividend all of a sudden, and then $1.77. So who knows how this is going to do. You could probably divide these by 4 to 5, depending on how many weeks in the month, and get your relatively accurate number or an estimate on what it's going to do, but I'm not going to do that because it would take far too much time. All in all, looks like a solid fund. Can't wait for that first distribution from the weeklies, and you guys will see it here first. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's jump into our final 2 funds from YieldMax. Starting off with YMAX, because it has been underperforming YMAG. You guys know how I love both of these funds. I own both of them. So let's jump straight into it. Average cost of 17.60 cents and a current price of 17.13 cents. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure why. The dividends were supposed to be paid out today. I did not get them in my account yet. They will be reflected on the spreadsheet, but it's not going to be reflected on here. So, I mean, it wouldn't really affect the percentages up and down. It would just impact the numbers as a whole with the total return, which again will be negated because I have already tracked it. So you can see we haven't purchased it yet. I think it just took a second, maybe because the market was closed on Christmas Day. I don't know. Anyways, we see AUM 651 million. So just below QDTE actually, because that was what, 655. And then we see a dividend yield of 43.86%, really solid, just above YBTC. So if anyone's asking, because someone did in the comments ask me if YMAX has a better yield than YBTC, it technically does. And so we can check those look at the volume too on this one. Everyone's been buying. Had some red days still, but the volume is up so heavily from just a couple of months ago. Last 4 distributions, 30 cents, 23.7 cents, 12 cents, and now 13 cents. So again, a really low payout from there, but we are used to this because we usually get back-to-back lower payments depending on how the funds in YieldMax are paying out. So it's nothing to panic about. It's actually, I think it was due time for them. So I'm not freaked out about that. The prices come down a little bit, but we're still staying within this nice range. Should bounce off the bottom here just above 16. Hopefully it doesn't sink too far below that. I would love a run back up to the 1850s to really buff this account out and give us some more purchases at these lower levels, which this would be the lowest level we buy because drip is on with YieldMax. So I am happy to see that. Let's jump over into our big winner of the week, YMAG. We have an average cost of $19.19 and a current price of $19.61, up 2.20%. YMAG is definitely a fan favorite, I would say. Has a large AUM, 330 million, and a good dividend yield of 35%. Now, we've seen this one continue to grow higher and higher. It did take a nice dip last week, but managed to stay within that same area of trading price. So I'm happy with that. That shows a lot for me when it comes to the volatility of this fund, that it is able to withstand a lot, because this was a huge candle down. Still, it did have to recoup a bit, and it still took quite a hit, but I'm happy. I'm happy with that. So with the last couple of dividends, we can also see a lot of buying still, all inflated since September. Same with YMAG. All right, we can see, of course, because they started paying weekly. So they announced weekly payments, and these ones just started taking off. Now we see dividends of 20 cents, of 27 cents, of 17 cents, and now of 6 cents again. Definitely on the lower side, but we are used to it. I don't know if I don't think Moomoo has the newest dividend. So I will point these out on the spreadsheet as well directly following this, because it's not including it, because we had some pretty solid dividends, I believe, from both of these. But I'll correct myself if I am wrong. All in all, YieldMax still probably the kings of the account, but let's go check it for ourselves. Looking at the dashboard on our spreadsheet, we can see a lot of information. Our total return is down to 3.43%, which is not good whatsoever. One important factor, I'm yawning because I've been trying to film this video for so long and things keep happening, and it's like 5 hours later from when I initially started. And let me tell you, I sat for 2 hours calculating everything out to make sure it was accurate, because some stuff was throwing me off, and I fixed all of it and it didn't really change anything. So here we are still. But I'm happy with the account. We can see that we have YBTC in here now. It's taking up 11%. It probably lowered the percentages of all these other ones. And so we'll be watching that one trade sideways quite nicely. Jumping into our weekly dividend log, this is where most of the work was done. And then I went and I bought the chicken nuggets from Taco Bell. And I bought a 10-piece and they gave me 5. And that is just the absolute worst thing that I think could have happened to me after sitting on here for 2 hours doing this. But I'm going to be honest, it still was really fun to figure this stuff out. So I did get everything factored in, and it basically was how it's pulling the data from here. So I'm talking with the developer a bit too to understand this stuff, because it goes well beyond my capabilities. And this is the only thing I've ever seen that tracks the weeklies. So maybe there's something else out there. But we had IWMY with 77 cents, a near all-time low. I think it's tied with its all-time low. QQQY with a 68-cent dividend, which is an all-time low. Don't know how these funds are going to keep going at this rate. WDTE actually had a pretty good dividend at 48 cents. Not a high one, maybe a little bit on the lower side, but kind of in the middle. So I'm not unhappy about that. Then we have QDTE, which I purchased another share bound week 4 in November. So the dividends did take quite a leap here, because we went from 2 shares to 3 shares, I believe. And so then these last couple of dividends, $2.61 and $2.41, which is insane. These distributions have been crazy. Then we have XDTE, which I did not buy another share of, and it's still 4x with the last dividend, and this one as well. So $1.28 and now $1.21. They've been paying out like mad. Then we have RDTE, 82 cents. We bought another share around this 111 mark. And so not awful. It's a little bit low for what it is now, because we do have 3 shares of it now, but not terrible. And then we had YMAG with 92 cents and YMAX with $1.28. Both of those kind of in the middle. $1.28 is pretty high on average, but those keep going because we keep having drip on. And so those numbers should continue to increase, even though they are a little bit inconsistent. So I'm very happy with this. We can jump into our monthly dividend log, which tracks everything that we've seen now. We see IWMY is paid 10.08, QQQY just under 10, WDTE only 6, QDTE almost 11, XDTE only 7.22, RDTE 9, YMAG 11.35, and YMAX 13.21, which is wild. Our two winners, yet again, are the YieldMax funds. Let's check out our total return. All right, so we can see I have not adjusted YMAG and YMAX for the last strip because we didn't get that dividend into the Moomoo account, but I will next time. And our cash is still a little bit thrown off, but that's okay. That's not much of a big deal there. And so here we are, our total return. Now, our percentages have gone down from last video for all of these, almost like 3 to 4%. It's been a rough week. It has not been a good week for these at all. We can see IWMY is down 13.50. It's down 13% market-wise, and we're somehow up, only down 3.27% when it comes to our total return. And RDTE is it's a loser. I can't even believe it. We're down 0.27%. We did buy that extra share at a much higher price, and so that kind of offset. If we just had our initial first 2 shares, we'd probably be in the green still, but you know, it is what it is. QQQY, no shocker there, coming in at 0.49% in the green. WDTE at 2.26%. We have QDTE at 3.46%, and XDTE only at 2.69%. All of these have just been beaten up pretty heavily, and I'm not too pumped about it. I won't even lie to you guys. And then we see, like I said, RDTE is down 7%, and then we get into our good ones. We get YMAG, which is still up 12.87%, and YMAX, which is up 11.17%. Now sliding over, we can see these are all our ETFs, have it all factored in. It has portfolio allocation, cost basis, and then we see our total dividends received, which is, again, the factor that we all pulled this from our monthly dividend log right here. So this is the same number for each of those. And so I'm happy with how this has turned out. I hope we see something new next week. I hope we see some switching up in the market and get some actual, good returns. One thing I will do is we'll pull up the old calculator and we'll do some math. So we're going to take our lowest 3.27, we're going to turn it into a negative and multiply, or actually we're going to divide that by, this is week 13, and then we'll multiply that by 52, and that's going to give us a 13% total return on the year. That's an annual total return based off our first 13 weeks, which is not good whatsoever. IWMY, they need to get their act together. I can't even believe it. And then we'll take 12.87, and we're going to divide this by 13 because it's our 13th week again. Multiply this by 52, and this is a little bit low. We're looking at a 51.48% return for YMAG as of right now. Now, that is absolutely insane. It is just crazy. And we can actually see now our market return, we're up 3.94% with YBTC. I wonder, that must have jumped up. I guess it jumped up in the after hours. I haven't been watching crypto recently, but still pretty phenomenal. We've already got a 4% return. It's already beating IWMY, and I literally bought it today. So it's actually, oh my gosh, it's third in the account, and I bought it today. So that's just how today's been going, I guess. But all in all, this is still super fun. I'm going to do it all through 2025, and I cannot wait. We have so much more room in our weekly dividend log for more of these. So that'll auto-populate all this information, and I'll just start plugging everything in, and we'll track the data if we get new RoundHill funds, if we get more YieldMax funds that switch to weekly. I'm really, really excited. And again, don't forget to comment your favorite YieldMax funds that are going to go into the YieldMax only account. I'm really, really excited about that to see the return because it's been pretty phenomenal recently. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.